Hi, you're listening to the Three Rivers Marine Podcast, a show that brings anglers and mariners down-to-earth advice that helps on and off the water. I'm Anthony Marisi, a fishing rep born and raised in the Pacific Northwest. I'm sitting down with the biggest names in fishing and boating to make your next adventure easier, safer, and more exciting. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Three Rivers Marine Podcast. We are in studio today. This time we have Curt Winters from Three Rivers, and he is the service manager. I'm sure everybody has worked with Curt at some point or another. You're the second employee? Third employee?
Currently, right now, I am the second longest running employee.
Second longest running. So when did you start?
This November was 21 years ago.
21 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, long time.
And, I've only ever known you in service, but you didn't start there necessarily.
I did not. I was originally hired here in the parts department.
Okay. In the parts department, and then did you think this was going to be like a 21-year career? Did you not, did you have a plan, or did it just sort of happen that you ended up working?
It's worked out that way. Just for a long time wanted to work here, and things have just kind of progressed, and it's become a career.
Yeah. Yeah, you're as much of an institution as anybody, and you probably know as much of what's going on as anybody too, in charge of the whole crew back there and knowing all the projects and everything like that. It's a big job. I don't know how you don't have an assistant or two or three.
I don't think the owner wants to pay for it.
I bet if you asked for one. I feel like you'd just run them off. They couldn't keep up.
Yeah, or I'd probably get frustrated and chase them away.
Well, there's a whole bunch of phones for you to break, so that would be fine.
It's happened before.
So you're the service manager. Do you have any special certifications from Yamaha or anything? How do you get to be a service manager somewhere? What's that roadmap?
So my background was definitely not in the service department. Kind of worked that position as a necessity as personnel changes over the years, but did a lot of online Yamaha stuff, but have went back multiple times back to their headquarters in Georgia and done a lot of hands-on classes to learn it.
Yeah. So you're just as comfortable as anybody popping a cowling off and being like, hey, this is right, this is wrong. You're not just punching in numbers and stuff like that. You're as trained up as everybody.
Taught a lot of hands-on.
Yeah, that's good. I get to see you back there working, but I don't think a lot of the listeners know that, when you're telling them, you're not just relaying info from whoever's back there. You're like, no, I looked at it. This is what's going on.
At some point, if your boat's in our shop, I will physically touch that boat.
Yeah. So rest assured, you aren't getting the, Napa parts counter service when you're here. It's very much hands-on, super high trained staff. And that's, Tim talked about it in one of the early episodes. We have marine electricians who are certified in rigging. We have Yamaha trained technicians. The service manager is literally gone to the Yamaha headquarters to learn about Yamaha motors. So there's not a better place for you to know what's going on with your boat and getting you turned around.
Absolutely. I carry a certification from Yamaha as a service manager.
Yeah. Which is, that's special. And I think a lot of people get sort of confused and, hey, this shop's, $20 an hour less or whatever. And the part of the calculus that I think is really key is if one shop's $20 an hour less, congratulations. If they worked on your boat for 6 hours, you spent more money by spending less, and I think that you're not going to get a shop that has more experience looking at Yamahas than here. They're going to be able to get your boat inspected, figure out what's going on, get it fixed, get it turned around faster, more efficient, and at a higher level than really anybody else.
Without question, we try extremely hard and very busy shop, but we get it done.
Mm-hmm. So you've been here 21 years. I know that some days aren't super fun because nobody's job is fun every single day. But what is, your favorite part of this job? What keeps you coming back to it day after day after day?
There are definitely days I feel like the Grim Reaper. It's not always fun to have the bad news, but it's my customers. It's the relationship we've grown with our customers throughout the years, and it's really just taking care of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you do a really good job, and everybody gets your attention, your focus, your respect, and that's hard to find. I know that everybody appreciates it, and you know, sort of an extension of that is you kind of get to see people and you get this big rubber band, right? Is it's like you'll have a queue at your desk and like one person might be just got a brand new boat and wants to upgrade it or do a fun project or add radar, add a screen, do this, everything's awesome, the world is their oyster, and that's really exciting. You kind of need to match that energy. Hey, I'm excited for you. And then the next person might have hit a bunch of rocks or something happened and they're very upset, or hey, this my engine shut off, it should just be a simple thing, and then it turns into, oh well, no, you blew your power head, and you have to deal with one person being super excited, the next person potentially being part of like the lowest part of their boat ownership journey. How do you deal with that?
Sometimes it's tough. It's just taking a breath between people. You might have one guy that, he's here excited. He's going to get some upgrades. We're going to do some really cool stuff. And then you've got the next customer right behind him that's not excited to be here. He was out with his family and things didn't really go according to plan. And there's that frustration. And it's just taking a big deep breath and trying to see things through their eyes and be, at least be empathetic of what the situation is and work through it the best we can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm here enough that I get to see it. It's like, hey, this is what's going on. And, on some of these really big boats, oftentimes insurance is involved and there's all sorts of different components. And you have to be the go-between between an insurance company and the boat owner themselves and a tech and the ownership at Three Rivers and parts. And everybody kind of, really kind of goes around they're in orbit of you, right? And it's an interesting position to be in because you know what's going on. You have to be around for all of it. And is that like heavy for you? You just gotten used to it?
Just getting used to it. Just realizing that no 2 days are ever going to be the same. Mm-hmm. It's not coming into work with a plan that I'm going to get X, Y, and Z done. It's just working through it. And kind of as things hit you, you just got to keep moving.
Yeah. I mean, it seems exhausting. I've been here all day and I've seen like the amount of papers and stuff that you've gone through. It's just like, and that's just Tuesday.
Yep. My desk is at the service counter, but as you saw today, it's not much time standing at that counter.
Yeah, no, you're going through doing everything and helping everybody. We have some products in front of us. We'll switch gears a little bit into some more like helping people maybe see you less.
Preventative. Absolutely.
I brought some props. So like, how does something like this happen? Well, I don't know if you can see this, but this is parts of a connecting rod, and
it's two separate engines there. The one that was in your left hand, that's going to be part of a connecting rod out of a 4.2 liter Yamaha 300 horsepower engine, and I call that my $24,000 tune-up. Customer came in and got a quote on a service, and they didn't like the price with the labor, so they decided to purchase the parts. And everything went according to plan until they failed to put the oil back in the engine, and it didn't make it very far.
I'd imagine not.
Yeah, and then the other one is a wrist pin, which used to be connected to a piston in a 350 Chevy engine and an inboard jet that was not running very well. And his friend advised him to not continue to run it, should probably come see Three Rivers and get it squared up, but
he followed the advice.
He did not. Went out and decided it needed one more run, and maybe he could push some of that stale fuel from the boat sitting for 4 or 5 years through the system, and unfortunately came out the side of the block.
Oops. So preventative maintenance. I mean, I know that you preach that, Yamaha preaches that. Pretty much everybody is, maintenance, and it's really no truer than a marine environment. It's hard. You're cooling with raw water. It's wet by its nature. And, the engines run colder than your car.
They do. Yep. They're going to typically run 140, 160 degrees on average. It does vary by model, but much, much cooler than your car.
That's quite a bit. Like, what's a car run? Like 2 something, right?
Yeah, in that 200-degree range typically.
Yeah, and so you're going to see not only just more corrosion with the marine environment, but you're also going to see more opportunities for carbon and stuff to build up because that cooler operating temperature allows more of it to stick. Is that a
Just doesn't get burned out of there. And we find that
kind
a
of
lot of
fair
our
way to say
customers
that?
just baby their outboards way too much and just don't run them hard enough to get the heat in there to burn that carbon out of there.
Okay. So there are some things that are helpful for that. First one, I think, is right here. Ring free. It's not cheap. This is an $80 bottle.
But what I do tell people is it is not cheap, which what you have to keep in mind is that one bottle does 320 gallons of fuel. So for most of our customers, that's going to be pretty much an entire year's worth of their fuel
Okay.
in that
And
one
then
bottle.
and this walk us through what this is, because we have really, we have this fuel conditioner stabilizer plus and then ring free. There's a little bit of confusion sometimes. I mean,
There is. So the ring free, basically it has two things that it does. One being is it's called ring free because it's a cylinder lubricant, so less wear and tear on the engine. But in addition to that, it is also a carbon preventative, carbon removal as well. So it serves a couple purposes.
okay. Ring free works really good at making carbon get, removed from your engine, things like that. If you neglected to use ring free, there's this YEC running around. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's called YIEC, and that is a Yamaha internal engine cleaner. And that is a dealer-only, basically souped-up version of that ring-free right there, where we have to go in and run the engine and physically run that through the fuel injection system or carburation. Most engines are going to be fuel injected, and remove that with a chemical.
And that's something that you can't do, but you can run ring free in your boat.
You can absolutely run the ring-free. I cannot tell you the YIEC because if you don't use it correctly, you can actually damage the engine.
Okay.
So, pretty important.
Yeah. So carbon removal is super important. That's one step of carbon removal. Let's stay on that topic. Some of the marinas and stuff will have, non-ethanol fuel. Does ethanol fuel or non-ethanol fuel impact the amount of carbon that you're going to see in an engine, or is that really, we're just going to move to water at that point?
The ethanol versus non-ethanol, you're not going to necessarily build more carbon because of the ethanol. There's lots of other things that the ethanol does that's bad. Water solubility, phase separation, corrosion. There's a bunch of different things it does. And that's why we have those other two additives on the counter there. One being is Stable 360, which is a fuel additive that I use in my own boats. And the other version is the Yamaha version there that does the same thing. I personally use the Stable 360 because it's just been around so long and I have confidence in it. But as far as carbon buildup goes, one of the best things that our customers can do to prevent carbon buildup is going to be minimizing idle time. I know that's hard to do, pulling crab pot, sitting at the marina, waiting for your buddy to go get his rain jacket out of the truck, things like that. You are going to do have some idle time, but we can combat that with some time over 5,000 RPM. So as you stack up some hours on your outboard, just making sure that you're running, we like to see about 10% of our total hours above 5,000 RPM. That is going to build the heat in the block, be able to burn that carbon out of there and blow that carbon out of there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so definitely, make sure to run your engine hard. It's designed to run at high RPM. These motors are made to run at wide open throttle. They're, 2,000 RPM can realistically cause you more problems than 6,000 RPM.
No question. A lot of these motors are designed to turn in excess of over 6,000 RPM now.
Yeah, so run your motors hard. I know that that's like, a hotly contested topic is, are you going to hurt your engine if you run it hard? No, you're helping yourself, helping your pocketbook, and helping your motor last longer by getting into those high RPM ranges, letting the carbon come out of that engine and just let it really run nice and clean. Now we'll move into a little bit of fuel stabilizer and things like that. Should everybody run fuel stabilizer or just those that run ethanol? I mean, I fill mine at the fuel pump. So, I run ethanol gas in mine. I have a 300 4.2. It's got reasonable number of hours on it, and I have put stable and ring free in every single fill up since the boat was new, and I've never had a fuel issue or anything like that.
I tell people to put those additives in right when you put the fuel in the boat. Mm-hmm. There are times that you may put fuel in your boat and think you're going fishing tomorrow, and you come out the next day and your downriggers are no longer on your boat because somebody needed them more than you. Been there, done that. And suddenly you're not going fishing that next day, and then you're dealing with your insurance company and trying to get downriggers replaced in the summertime. and now it's been 30 plus days and you didn't have any fuel stabilizer in that fuel and it's ethanol blend, that fuel is not any good at that point in time.
That fast?
That quick.
30 days?
About 30 days
Done.
with ethanol fuel.
Okay. And stabilizer extends that life considerably.
Year plus.
Year plus. Yeah. So, guys, we're talking, this is $30 and that's $70. You're in $100 for fuel stabilizer, and it's going to save you potentially in the short term a lot of money, but certainly in the long term, we're talking thousands of dollars in, maintenance. If you have a gummed up motor, what's a yick treatment?
So that's a pretty common problem in here is people not treating their fuel, getting moisture in there, fuel breakdown. And then next thing you know, we're pumping, flushing, cleaning a fuel tank, going through, rebuilding the vapor separator tank, fuel pumps, fuel filters, going through the injection system. And pretty quickly, you're $1,500, $2,000 for just one engine, one fuel tank to get it squared back up the way it needs to be.
Yeah. So just get the additives, run it. Even if you don't think you need to, you do. Other boat things to help you see less. I mean, engine issues has got to be sort of one of the most common things that somebody's going to come into an issue with.
Primarily, it's going to be lack of maintenance.
Okay. And then, lack of maintenance for sure, but is, electrical next?
Electrical for sure. Corrosion. Most of our customers, at least a high percentage of them, are using their boats in the salt water. Mm-hmm. And it's highly corrosive. You start mixing that with electrical and quickly can have some issues for sure.
And then, so we have this hiding right here. 656. Multi-purpose lubricant. Does all sorts of stuff. What do you use it for?
I typically am going to use that as a general purpose lubricant. Put it in your downriggers sockets, keep things from getting corroded in there. But more so than that, I'm a big fan of periodically pulling the cowling off the top of the engine and coating all those components, fuel pumps, electrical, block, all of that stuff with that. And that's going to put a surface layer of corrosion prevention on that. Going to keep salt from building up, corrosion from building up.
So you spray that all over, take the cowling off,
hose it down.
All the engine components.
Not going to hurt plastic, doesn't hurt rubber. I do tell people, don't spray it directly on the belt. It's not going to damage the belt, but typically you're going to get a little noise out of the belt, which is going to be an annoyance.
Okay. Learn, it's not even really a mistake, but I definitely panicked one time because I was spraying my motor down and realized that the angle that I had it was on my kicker. The way that the intake is on a 25, they're kind of just down, but in the middle of the cowling. And I'd spraying around and I was like, oh man, I definitely sprayed some of this like in and around the intake. And, I texted you and you're like, don't, really try your best to not spray it down the intake, but it's not really, you don't need to like not start it and come see you and fix your problems.
Get an excess amount of that in the intake, you may foul a spark plug. It's probably going to smoke a little bit when you start it up, but not going to physically damage anything.
Okay. So, definitely like this stuff here is definitely your best friend. I know that the first like maybe 6 months that I had my first motor, I never sprayed this in it. And then, I was like, oh man, there's like some salt stuff on the kicker inside and things like that. And so this boat, I use this, I don't know, about once a month. You can't even tell that I use it in salt water. It's really a dramatic difference.
It's a good habit. Get in there every 3-4 trips. Just pull the cowling off, spray it down. It's cheap.
So that's good. So run your engine hard, use some fuel additives, ethanol, non-ethanol, just put it in there, make sure your engine's not going to be building up carbon. Spray your electrical down, spray your inside of your cowling down with 656. Is there anything, for electrical specific that you like the wiring in the boat?
Yeah, periodically opening up your fuse panels back there, pulling fuses out. You can treat them with dielectric grease. You can spray it down with that 656 just to get a barrier in there to prevent that corrosion from happening. Salt water is just going to work its way into those crevices and get down in there, and over time can definitely create some issues.
Yeah. Is there, let's walk us through sort of a maintenance schedule for those people. Like, I just bought a boat from, Three Rivers. It's brand new, day one. What do I do? Hey, my boat's 3 years old. Hey, my boat's 5 years old. Hey, my boat's 10 years old now. Is there anything that like special outside of just do your hours maintenance that people should be prepared for, or, really start to take a look at it? Okay, hey, this boat's 3 years old now. You really should look at this system. Hey, it's 5 years old. Look at this system. 10 plus, you might want to start replacing systems? Walk us through sort of that life.
For sure, yeah. There are some tables, charts that show us what we need to do there. So when you first purchase your new outboards from us, you're going to go, your salesman's going to walk you through your braking procedure. It's going to be instructions how to properly brake that engine in. And then the majority of your outboards are going to require their first initial service after 20 hours of operation or the first 6 months of ownership. And then once you have that completed, it's going to be an annual or every 100 hours, whichever occurs first. It's pretty typical. And then beyond that, there's going to be maintenance intervals, water pump impellers, thermostats, timing belts, internal fuel filters, some things that are deeper in the engine.
And then the boats themselves. Is there, do you start seeing, like, what kind of systems do you start seeing needing replacement or failing kind of down the line? I want sort of to just bring this out as like a, hey, I have a boat that's 3 years old. This is, what do I need to make sure that I go, next time I go see Curt, what do I ask him about to make sure that I don't have that, oh, dude, my boat died, and.
And that's a common question I get from my customers all the time. They're always asking, hey, what's next when I'm looking at, how long is my starter going to last, my bilge pump, my steering system. And unfortunately, there's a lot of different factors. Mm-hmm. It's how well you're maintaining it, cleaning it, treating it with some type of corrosion. All that's going to factor into that a little bit. But, bilge pumps, how much debris are you running through them? Are they being taken care of? You're typically going to be in that 5-year scenario for that. Mechanical steering cables are going to be in the 5 to 10 year life. And a lot of the other systems, there's just no dead set rule.
Yeah, it can go in a year, can last you decades.
Well, I would hope it'd be more than a year, but
sure.
Things do wear out.
Yeah, I mean, and certainly, it's use, right? If you're in your boat every day, your hydraulic system isn't going to last 20 years. And if you're...
And it's sitting, too, that kills them. You park that boat. We have customers all the time park that boat for 5-10 years, and then suddenly things aren't working. It's just sitting out in the environment, being exposed to that stuff.
Yeah. So run your boats, guys.
That's what you paid for.
Go put them in the water. Get them wet.
Go use it.
All right. Now I want to hear a fun story. So what's your favorite, repair story?
I don't know that I have a specific repair story. I mean, I love telling that $24,000 tune-up story. We see a fair number of that stuff, but my favorite jobs are typically going to be upgrades.
Okay.
So I like customers that are excited about what we're doing. And
shocking.
It just, it sets the tone. It's just a lot more fun to have somebody that's excited about what you're doing.
For sure.
Versus a reactive repair. So a lot of upgrades, fish finders, electronics, radars, autopilots. That's the type of stuff I enjoy for the most part.
Mm-hmm. What's been the number one upgrade for 2025 that people did?
For 2025, we did a lot of kicker autopilots. So Garmin Reactor 40, very popular item, but we're seeing more and more bow mounts with spot lock.
Yeah.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, I've been in some boats with that. It definitely gives you some advantages for sure. I guess with that'll be interesting because I'm looking at them right through the window. Let's talk lithium batteries. Because you're not going to be running a big old saltwater capable spot lock bow mount on your 12 volts.
No. Typically, most of those systems are going to be 24, 36 volts.
And then hundreds of amp hour systems.
Yeah, 60 plus to over 100 amp hours.
Okay. So your lithium ion batteries they're expensive, but they are light. Do you, walk us through how that would look? Can you run your lithium battery to start your Yamaha?
Yes and no. That's a complicated question. So
that's why I asked.
Yamaha stance is no, you cannot connect your outboard directly to it. Reason being that the charging system on the outboard is going to be a voltage regulator rectifier, and that senses volts to turn the charging system on and off. And that's not the way a lithium battery works. Lithium battery works off, yes, voltage, but it's percentage of charge. So the Yamaha doesn't know to turn off the charging system and potentially could cause some problems. So in general, it's not good idea to just directly connect that outboard to that. But another part of that is most of your bow mount systems are going to be 24, 36 volts. Yamaha operates, any outboard in general is going to operate off a 12 volt system. So it can be done. Got to do some DC to DC charger stuff. We just got to get a little bit tricky on how we rig things up. But it can be done.
It's possible. Not recommended. So typically what you're doing for those bow mounts is you're just doing a whole separate system hey, this is your 36 volt. It lives up here. It's its own isolated circuit, and it's all on its own.
Yep, I'm going to set up the battery, bow mount, or transom mount, and then we're going to install an onboard charger typically, which is going to be a 110 charger that you can plug in when you get home. The nice thing about those lithium batteries and the real high amp hours is that typically you can get multiple days of use out of them, so it's not necessarily having to plug it in every time.
I'm trying to think. What's the most overlooked Yamaha outboard in terms of like reliability, things like that? Or maybe not overlooked. That's not the right word. Like, let me just start over. Like, is there an engine that is the most reliable Yamaha? That's really what I meant to say.
I mean, part of Yamaha is its reliability. They're well known for it. My personal favorite, and just what I see as far as longevity, is that inline 4-cylinder, around 2.8 liter, 150, 175, 200. In general, they're extremely reliable. They're a workhorse, a lot of power, lightweight package. They have had some balancer issues, but that's a maintenance item. It's about how you're maintaining it, how you're operating it, ethanol, fuel, additives, things like that. So.
And then I guess last question for the listeners that maybe don't have a Yamaha, but they have a Mercruiser or something like that. Is that something that you guys work on? Do you only work on Yamahas? I know you only sell Yamahas, so if you need a repower, it's Yamaha or nothing. But can anybody come see it? And can you work on it?
So things have changed because of volume of work. We only have so much space to work on here. When we first went into business, we would work on anything, and throughout the years, we've now become an exclusive Yamaha dealer. We do not sell anybody else's product. And we've really focused a lot of attention and detail in training our technicians to be working on that Yamaha product. So we are not taking on any new customers for other products. However, we don't forget customers that have built the business. And if we've done business with you in the fairly recent past, we will continue to help you out.
Yeah, so that's good. Do you have any other tips, tricks, anything like that for keeping people's boats running better, longer?
Yeah, look in your owner's manual.
Okay.
There is a chart in the back of that shows all of your required maintenance, and people just do not look at that, and it becomes reactive. It's the middle of summer, all of a sudden the motor's overheating, not running correctly, and they're standing here with an emergency, and this could have been prevented.
Last question. I brought some other props. Blue bottle or gold bottle?
Completely depends on your engine.
But most people say this one's full synthetic, it's better.
Yes and no.
So, I mean, I know the answer, but a lot of people don't. Yamalube is what you should put in your Yamaha. It doesn't matter if they didn't make it themselves and you can just go get a 5-gallon bucket of whoever manufactured oil, like, roll the dice. It's fine. I mean, in the manual, it basically just says put oil in it, and that's what you need to do. But, some of these motors are $50,000.
There's definitely a difference between a marine oil and a standard automotive oil.
Just make sure that you use the Yamalube. Just get it. If you have a show, super high output, gold bottle.
All the 4.2 liters, you can run it as an option. I like it. Not so good for a kicker motor. It's not really recommended.
Okay, so you can run this in a 4.2.
It's designed for a 4.2.
Oh, well. Kicker motors, everybody else, regular 10W30.
Yes, sir.
That's what you want. Is there a time when you'd want to run a 5W30 or any other weight?
You can run some 1040. Okay. Yamaha does say that that's going to vary by water temperature. Okay. So for our Pacific Northwest environment and the water temperatures where we're at, a 1030 is going to be a better choice for you for your oil.
Okay. Then fuel filters, we're changing those at the same intervals as your...
Once a year or every 100 hours. And
or if you plug it up.
Run some bad gas through it. We're probably going to be putting some filters in it. But water fuel separator, inline filter, real critical to be doing that.
Perfect. Well, hopefully that answers some of the listeners' questions about just some easy tips and tricks. If there's any questions that you have, comment it. We'll get back on. We'll answer them. Curt's not scary. Just listen to your engine, listen to your owner's manual. You get to see him less, and then you get to see him for the good parts.
Do more upgrades, less repairs.
Exactly. But definitely he's a phenomenal resource for anybody who has questions on their boat, questions on their engine. He's been doing it for over 20 years at this point. Just come talk to him, figure it out, build a relationship with your dealer. That's something I'll add, I guess, right at the end is, hey, come in, don't be a stranger, get to know Curt, get to know the shop staff, and, just get to be a part of your maintenance life cycle of your boat, and things will go a lot smoother for you. Just in every aspect, how things get through service, how things get through everywhere. If you just are a part of the process, it's better.
It's better. I'd rather have you out fishing in July versus sitting in my shop waiting.
Perfect. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Like I said, if I missed something, comment it. We'll have Curt back on later, I'm sure, but thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Three Rivers Marine Podcast. We would like to give a special thanks to our sponsors, End Run Tackle, make your own bite window, Fisherman's Gold Products, everything we make, we fish ourselves, and Duckworth Boats, legendary adventure.